Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. And today we're going to talk about automation and how it's changed just a little bit with this Schwab and TDA takeover. Now, I teach automation, expert at TOS. The interesting thing, though, is within the last couple of weeks, noticing that our typical automation for buying back orders on zero DTE credit spreads, they haven't been getting triggered. And so this is very important to note because just like as the market changes, when automation changes because of a merger, we have to be right on top of that. And so we've done a couple different techniques recently to make sure that it gets triggered. Now, I don't know if you know this, but when you put in any type of stop order, a stop is a market order. So, there's been some recent complaints that, hey, I put my order in for, $1.50 to buy back. And because of the volatility, it ends up triggering, but the close price was 250 or 350. This is something where you need to call TDA, make sure when you have an order that, something was wrong with it, that they, get to research that. They'll research it while you're on the phone and they'll let you know what took place. Because you need to know, as an automated trader, if you're programming that correctly or if you made a mistake. And that's how we learn. But if we just let that go and we don't know what happened, then you're not going to get good at your skills here. So I definitely always call in and talk to the person and find out what's going on. And so I was able to do that within the last couple of weeks and recognize that there is no error in what I was doing. This has always worked and things are changing. So with that change, I've made some changes and I want to share them with you. So let's get to it. Let's say that we have a zero DTE credit spread on. We got $1.05 credit, and let's say, we're willing to maybe our 200 stop loss here, 200% stop loss. And so typically speaking, you would just put in your opposite order. And you would put this as an example. If we wanted to do 200% stop loss, that would make this 315. The reason is because they give you the credit up front. You have to take that into consideration for your close account. If in your mind, in your accounting, that you're identifying a 200% stop loss. All right. So now that we have that straight, typically speaking, we would just do this, okay? And that was good enough for the option contract to get it triggered. Now, what TDA is telling us is that, hey, look, if there's volatility and there's two legs there, it won't be able to close because, everything's moving around and it's not stable enough for the programming to work. Well, you know what my reply to this is as well. It works for the institutions. It doesn't work for the retail traders. Hint, hint. So in any event, so this doesn't work well, right? And I always knew that. So, in advanced automation, you learn early on that you need to do it by stock price. And if you can exit via your stock price, it's going to be a very clean exit. So the difference there was, do you pay limit or do you pay market price to get out? So let me show you how to do this. Now remember, a stop order, any type of stop order, even a trail stop, is a market order. And so if we take that into consideration, we think, well, wait a minute, let's go ahead and do this by stock price. Well, first we need to know what the stock price that we're looking at. So maybe in this example, we were willing to give up or at least program in 315 for a 200% stop loss. But when we look at the analyze graph, and if you look at this box right here, as I move my cursor, you can see if you're in profit or if you're at a loss. So originally we were going to program 315. Well, we're breaching our short and long strikes and we're all the way over here. Is that really what you want to do? Now, if I have a doctor's appointment, what I typically do, because I want to make sure that that automation is going through, I don't want to be sitting there sweating bullets, looking at my phone and asking why it's not being triggered. So what ends up happening here is I just look at my short and long strike, and then, based on back testing or wherever I'm getting my information, if I feel like, okay, if it breaches this area, then my thesis is wrong. I'm not going forward with this trade. So now I can actually take a look at that and look at that box and go, oh, I'm at about 162 dollars of a loss. And I can also look down and go, oh, my stock price, right, is at 52, 42, and let's make it simple and say 50 cents. And so maybe that's where I want to make sure that I'm exited, right? So now I can go back into my order and program that. So let me show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put this back as it was. And I'm going to go over to the gear icon, that little icon right there. And when I do that, you're going to be able to see this screen. Now, typically speaking, we don't know what the option price is going to be when it hits, right? Because we don't know about the volatility. It could be a little higher than 160, it could be a little lower than 160, but I feel confident with where I put that exit. So now I'm going to go over here, and all I have to do is just click it, and it fills it in with the SPX. Here, I'm going to leave it as mark. It defaults as mark. And then here you can see the triggers, right? This is the security is less than or equal to is the first one. And the second one is greater than or equal to. And then as you notice, we're going to stick our stock price in here, 52.42. User error, right? 52.42. 50 is what we indicated. And you tab out of this box right here. If you tab out of the box, then you're programming it correctly. Because if you don't tab out and you just click somewhere else, this will be all zeros. And remember that we are now programmers for ThinkorSwim, and we got to get our programming in correctly, okay? So we're going to tab out of that box, and now we say, hey, so the condition, when this gets met, then we're going to fill out this, right? And so we don't know what the stock price, or excuse me, the option price is going to be. It's not going to be 145, I can tell you that, because it's 145 right now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to we're going to leave this as limit. Remember that if you put a stop here, that stop is a market order. And so remember that we put 52.42 here. So that is actually your most aggressive way. But if we were going to start off, I'm going to tell you what we used to do that used to work without a problem for years and years. Is we used to use this as mark. And we would give 5 cents. And that right there typically would get us out without a problem. And we were paying a limit order. And so if that, and I can tell you certain, it did not work this last week or two. Because of that, though, we want to make sure now that we get this closed. So we're going to do this as ask. And that means that we are going to give them their asking price, which is the higher end, and we're going to give them 5 cents. I mean, that's really if you wanted to play it safe. And let's say you had a news event coming out. Not only are you going to give it the ask, but you're also going to give them an extra $5, and that's per contract. So this right here, so the first automation action would be mark plus 5. Okay, you're saying the mark, and I'm going to give you an extra 5. Now we're going to the ask. So this now has taken over that, and that's at 0. So to me, as far as TMS is concerned, I'm saying, hey, this is plan number 1 now for automation via the stock price is ask, but not giving anything extra. If you wanted to be more aggressive and you thought maybe there was some news or you were really worried you were going to the doctors, whatever you thought, and you really wanted to be aggressive about it, you could do ask plus 5. Ask plus 5, it's still a limit. And then, of course, you have a market order. Now, can you do a limit instead of 5 and go 10? Absolutely. But at some point, you're going to get over to the market pricing area. So, the sweet spot being is that this is at ask at 0. If you see any issues with that and you don't get filled, This has worked. This week, I haven't had any issues whatsoever. So this is being aggressive. You have the stock price in there. You got the ask in there. You're paying the amount. If you say +5, that's being really aggressive. And then now, if you say, excuse me, if you say market, well, that's deep pockets. But hey, no ifs, ands, or buts here. As soon as it hits that stock price, that market order is going to go into close. And at least now you know that you're completely out of that trade and you've protected that additional capital that you have in your account. You didn't let it go to max loss, etc. So I certainly hope that this helped you with your automation. If you're an automator, contact me. I want to hear your stories of what's been going on through this transition. Leave your comments below. I'd love to hear about it because just within this last couple of weeks, the way that we typically did it has not worked. And I thought it was just a fluke. I called into TDA. They gave me the story about, well, the mark price is changing. That one has to do with that stock price, but that's okay. Doing the ask, I'm happy with that. As long as we make sure that we are modifying our programming skills based to what's happening right now with their automation, because Schwab and TDA is having a merge. There's going to be some changes. This may be one of them. I noticed it. Some members in our Discord noticed it. And as soon as we confirm that, it's like, oh, we need to be more aggressive now so that our orders get closed. All right, guys. Hope you have a great day. My contact is in the description below, and we'll see you in the next video.